With absentee landlording, a lot of people have problems with acquisition. So how am I going to find, select, and purchase a property in a market that I'm not even in? And this, I think, is one of the best parts about absentee landlording, actually. It's because whenever you're looking at properties, you're not coming at it with the bias and the emotional attachment of your home market and a place that you're familiar with. Instead, you're able to look at the core data and the hard numbers about not only the neighborhood and the city where you're buying property, but also about growth trends and current rent values without having the emotional entanglement of if it's a neighborhood you like or a property that you like or an area that's close to some of your favorite things and places. So with property selection, I think absentee landlording actually offers you an advantage in your ability to take a cold, hard, analytical look at the property that you're considering purchasing, as well as the price point you're considering purchasing it at. All right, so let's have a little talk about advertising, screening, and leasing, some of the core components of the tenant move-in. I think tenant move-in is where you're gonna see a big difference between absentee landlording and landlording in your home market. First of all, advertising. So with advertising, whenever you're going to use a property manager, they're gonna take care of all of this for you. However, if you wanna advertise yourself, we live in the information age and there's a ton of great tools available to you. One that I like, Facebook ads. Facebook ads could do a couple different things. One, they could drive your actual listing, or two, they could be advertising, driving your mailing list and a tenant base for future vacancies. If you've got future vacancies, but you also have a list and you have a database or a population of people that are interested in those vacancies, then whenever a vacancy is coming up, you can lead turn your vacancies to your list and to your prospective tenants. This is something that a property manager may or may not be doing. A lot of times your property manager may be reactive, and so once your vacancy comes up, that's when they start advertising, they start placing tenants, which is going to lead you to quite a bit of open vacancy time in your house. However, if you're proactively building your list and proactively advertising your vacancies before they even get moved out of, you'll be able to start placing tenants with minimal turn time. With vacancies being probably one of your biggest expenses, having this advertising is going to be key in minimizing that expense. This is true whether you're absentee or whether you actually live in the market. So with tenant screening, this is one thing where it does become a little bit difficult being an absentee landlord. While you want to go ahead and get your background checks and your credit scores on all of your tenants, it's going to be difficult if you don't have somebody in person that's collecting that information from the tenant. I mean, I don't want to give my social security number for a credit check to somebody over the phone that I haven't met in person, and so I expect that tenants are naturally leery about this. Some of the ways that you can avoid that is by having a strong online presence as well as a reputation with people in the market that those tenants know personally, or you can just avoid it altogether by having a property manager on site. Leasing your vacancy. It's very important to have somebody go line by line through your lease with your tenant. So whether you're doing this in person, whether you have a property manager who's doing your leasing for you, or whether you have an agent in that market who can do your leases, you want to make sure that somebody is going through that lease with the tenant and making sure they understand every line in the lease that they're signing. Additionally, the completion of the leasing, you need to make sure that either your manager, agent, or another representative is doing a walkthrough of the property with the tenant so they can identify any discrepancies together prior to moving into the unit. All right, so let's do a brainstorm of some of the services that I use to manage my properties remotely. Clearnow.com, great accounting software, my ebooks on Amazon. Tenant verification services, it's great for tenant screenings. You can do credit screenings or also background checks. QuickBooks Online, this thing's great for everything. You can do rent collection, manage all your bills, track all your expenses, communicate with your accountant, integrate other apps, manage your payroll, pretty much everything. my checkbook, US Post Office. Make sure you always get a tracking number on everything that you send. Automatic bill pay. Make sure you have your landlord revert set up so whenever tenants move out, it goes back to you as the landlord. It's gonna help you keep your pipes from freezing, heat from turning off, air conditioning from turning off. Make sure your house is ready to show whenever it's vacant. I say checks. Make sure you have a checkbook. Debit card, Google Drive, secure cloud-based share file, cell phone. Are you looking for a Joplin area landlord with established maintenance policies designed to keep everything in your house running smoothly? How about a property manager with time-tested best practices to ensure you have a hassle-free tenant experience? If so, give us a follow on our Facebook and sign up for our newsletter at becommonproperties.com to ensure you don't miss out on our next available opening.